You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts.
It's Queen3 King. It's Queen3 King. It's Queen3 King. Queen3 King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. Queen3 King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. It's Queen3 King on BS3 Network.
Welcome to another episode of Queen3 and King. I am your host with the toast, the roast, and the most. King Dawk. I got to bring the beat back, though. I don't care that I got 3 passes on at one time. Hear from the beat. And what they say about the dust, from whence you came and where you going to go back to. All right, we got a strong one today, man. Probably one of the most powerful shows we've done on Queen3 and King, Daddy Issues. This is part 2. Part 1 got so much pub that we needed to do another one. In fact, we are actually going to do a series on this particular topic, Daddy Issues. So we got an all-star panel today, which I'll get into those introductions in just a second. But again, Daddy Issues part 2. It is... this topic, we've all heard of daddy issues. In fact, because we from the street, we done all took advantage of some daddy issues.
Boy.
And if you saying you ain't, you lying. We done all took advantage of something. But this time we are talking about daddy issues from the male perspective. Again, I would say this is a God-given divine intervention kind of thing, because it just hit me one day when I watched the clip, which we'll show here in just a second, which is how this got started. Again, we are live on Roku. Search BS3 TV and download today. You can also find us on our website, bs3network.com, and the Roku channel is bs3tvlive.com. You can stream it from any of those locations. In addition to the YouTube channel, our YouTube viewers, please click the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. There is a Queen3 and King YouTube channel and a BS3 Network YouTube channel that you can access the program for. The beauty of a podcast is the fact that if you don't catch us today, you can catch us tomorrow. So you're going to know somebody who needs this information. You may be that somebody. Ain't that a song? You might be that somebody. Who was it? Michelle A or somebody like that? Y'all help me out. You might be that somebody, or you might know that somebody. You feel me? All right, so introductions. We're going to start with the man who showed out so much that this is the reason why we had to do part 2 on that, and that is Pastor Lynn Harper. I'm not even going to give him an introduction because I can't do him no justice. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Pastor Harper, talk to the folks.
What to do, family? Glad to be here this evening. I am, as he said, Pastor Lynn Harper, a.k.a. the profane prophet. I'm a man of unclean lips, and I dwell amongst the people of unclean lips. I'm grateful to be here tonight. I currently work at Cornerstone Baptist Church in Arlington, Texas. I serve there in a couple of capacities, and just grateful at this moment to be on the show, man. Looking forward to having this conversation about daddy issues.
Absolutely. You want to talk about this? You want to unwrap the present right now and talk about the upcoming podcast and that we're trying to develop and whatnot? Go ahead and give them just a little taste.
Well, we're in the early stages, man. But yeah, I changed my name today to the Profane Prophet. My podcast will be called The Dysfunctional Disciple, guys, and it's dealing just with the intersection of how we have underdeveloped, underdiscipled a generation. And right now we're dealing with so much backlash as we look at the fruits of that lack of discipleship. And we've been pointing down towards them when the reality is we need to inspect what went wrong. And we need to look at some of those things so that we can reach out to a generation and reconcile them back unto God. So It is repertory in its purposes, but it will be intentionally exposing some flaws in the way we've looked at it, the lenses we've looked at it through, some of the ways that we framed the gospel. So I don't want to go too far, man. But,
yeah, man.
Oh, you don't went too far. You don't went too far already.
And tell me, I gotta hear this line right now, man. Tell me your line, Pastor, about what we don't measure. What's that? Just give me that line right now.
I say one of the reasons we've lacked a lament in our community for many things, many ways of violence, whether it's gang violence, gun violence, violence to our women, and general violent communities. And I told them our issue is that we are unable to mourn it because we have not measured it. When you don't measure death, then you don't mourn death. And when you don't mourn it, you don't move it. And the truth is that some of us have struggled to be able to come up with programs and ideas that would actually move through the gospel and change some of these issues because we've detached this idea that those are not our people. And so that detachment has caused us to stop measuring the death that's all around us, and it's caused us to stop mourning because of that. And so we haven't been able to create the movements to move forward. So I'm praying to be able to touch some spaces that have been forgotten, brothers.
Yeah, man. Love it. All right. So we go on to yeah. See, John did proper. You can tell John from Sappho Clip because he turned his hat backwards. He
I'm like, this can't hit, bro.
Yeah, see,
right.
see, John ain't no Indian, but he know war talk. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Next, we got Pastor AJ Jones, 40-year radio veteran. Again, you may have seen the show with Venus Flytrap called WKRP in Cincinnati. That's him. Talk to us, Pastor.
I have nothing to do with WKRP in Cincinnati. Just the money that they made off that show or the residuals. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, been working in radio for 42 years, pastoring for 25. Just accepted assignment as a youth pastor, and I'm
love it, man.
Working with them a little bit further up the stream now. And
yeah, love it, man.
I'm glad to be in that part of the pond. So
yeah,
I'm just glad to be here with you esteemed brothers tonight and help dig into some issues that need to be dealt with.
Yeah, and hopefully we will be making film together very soon. Not the kind of film that John is involved in, where they only tape at night. You know, like for some reason they only film at night. I hadn't figured that out. We want to film in the daylight. You understand what I'm saying? All right, and then next we have Gary, the Freelosopher Freeman. Gary and I have studied under the same tutelage, under the same pastor. And for those of you who know me, you know I got a solid spiritual foundation. Well, Gary is right there. And he has mixed that with his upbringing and his level of intelligence, man. And a dude that I have a high, immense respect for, man. Talk to the people. And again, I've been begging him to get a podcast forever, the Freelosophy, but he hard-headed. Talk to us, Gary. Why you so hard-headed?
Hey man, it's all, it'll happen in God's time, and that's
I heard that. See, that's how you get niggas off of you, right there. You say in God's time, and then they can't say nothing to you. You know, see, I'm gonna tell you, don't fall for that, man. That's a trick amongst male Christians. Man, in God's time, and that's how you get women off of you. That's how you get Negroes off of you. You just say it's God's timing because we can't argue with that.
But man, I just want, first of all, I wanted to say thank you for having me on again. But also thank you for thinking of me in the same light as these gentlemen that are on here. I've watched several podcasts. I've watched several of these gentlemen speak at different occasions or within podcasts, or even Brother Harper or Pastor Harper in person. And it's an honor to be amongst this group. So I appreciate the offer to be here. I did watch the podcast last week, and I thought it was a very, very powerful message and a topic. And there were a lot of things. This topic is so vast that it only gives us time to really kind of scratch the surface, because you can go in so many different ways. And I know today we'll focus on the men, but in focusing in the idea and how it affects the community as a whole, women, children, old, young, it goes in so many different ways. But again, this is something that I think needs to be talked about, something that I think we can carry forward and continue to just spread it where necessary. But I'm glad that we're talking about it. And this is going to be an interesting conversation. So I know we'll go over an hour. I definitely know we'll go over an hour tonight because we have some speakers on here that can carry this message forward. And it's going to be
it's going over because we got 4 pastors. We got 4 pastors, so it's going over.
That's right. That's right.
I won't be before you long.
Gary, you reminded me that you were there for Pastor Harper's message there at the men's conference this year. And me and Gary almost cussed at church in the same time because when he said some stuff, me and Gary looked at each other like we had to stop each other from cussing. It was so good, man. All right. And next, South Oak Cliff's finest, comedian extraordinaire. If you hadn't seen him live on stage, you ain't missing nothing. This is the Yogi, John, the Yogi, and Lewis. Talk to the people.
Well, you didn't stop. Man. You didn't stop. Hey, man, I am blessed and honored as well to be thought of in the same breath with the esteemed panel that's all that I'm dealing with tonight, man. I thank you guys because oftentimes when stuff is being learned or talked about, you know, the way I do it doesn't often be talked about. So for you to allow me to spit upon the rhetoric that is going on tonight okay. Thank you.
About John, and he's sneaky with his knowledge, man, with his impact. You know, I resonate with John in the way that I think the Lord gave us a sense of humor, man, so folks can let their guard down and then we hit him with what he got for us, you know. Because when I say John is, you know, you wouldn't think it, man, but listen to Man Talk Mondays on Mondays. Listen to him on anytime he done been on this podcast, man. And this dude, I mean, Derrick, Pastor Smith, somebody I respect highly. Okay, and the first time I heard him speak, I had to send him some money because I couldn't say thank you. But for him to constantly have to be like, God, dog, and look over at the dude he been knowing for so many years, and he still surprises him with some of his knowledge, man, that ought to tell you all you need to know. So he's a comedian, but I've often said that people who are comedian, man, are some of the smartest people we got in the country, period. Yeah. Period. Not John, but most comedians.
I don't know about
that. All right. And next, we got Pastor Smith. Again, he drops knowledge weekly on Man Talk Mondays. And Pastor, you still dropping your online services on Sunday morning as well? Tell us about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I get the esteemed pleasure of co-hosting a podcast with my man, comedian John Yogi. Been doing it for 4 years now, man. 4 years. Been rocking tough. So talking about relationships, and I do have another broadcast that I do on Sunday mornings, Overcomers Empowerment Ministries. And basically what I do, man, I bring clarity to kingdom concepts and things regarding the kingdom of God, and just try to take things from the colloquialisms and everything and tell people what they really mean and how to actually apply them so that, you know, you can be effective in this life. So,
yeah, John, look that colloquialism up. I saw you looking.
I'm gonna write it down. Write it down.
You don't even know if it starts with a K, a C, a C, a Q, U. All right. We got Keisha Walker in the building. Say good evening, brothers, and you too, Gary. Wow. See, that's the problem when you go to church with folks for so many years. Talk to you any kind of way. We got Ben Suttereth III, the gentleman who put the BS in BS3 Network. He says, good evening, fellas. He ate all the chicken strips at the Dallas Stars press in the Dallas Stars press box last night, so they put him out. We got kinfolk in the building. Justin Caraway, he said, let's get it, guys. See, look at her. He done put a picture of his old lady on with him, so you know he's serious now, because you don't do that until you're serious. Let's see. Keisha said, I knew AJ looked familiar when you moved from Cincinnati, man. We got my mother-in-law in the building. Her name is Bonnie Pearl. That's how you know she got a black son-in-law, because she said her name is Bonnie Pearl. Then we got Justin again. He says Cat Williams reads a lot of books. Yeah, he do. He do. And he's smarter than you think, you know, but they got to have a little crazy with him. All right. So let's go ahead and dig into this topic. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second, Pastor Harper, since you was here for the first one. And I want to just get some initial thoughts from these gentlemen on daddy issues. Just define that for me. We're going to start with Pastor Jones. Just give me something brief on daddy issues as you know.
I think it's dealing with the repercussions of having a father who may not have known how to be a father.
Oh, man.
Or how to exemplify a father.
Oh, man.
And man, those issues are long lasting.
Yeah, man.
Long lasting.
Yeah,
so
man.
Just keeping it short.
Yeah, fantastic. Freelosopher, give me your thoughts. Define the phrase, words, daddy issues.
I'm just going to keep it simple and just say it is the effect of fatherhood or lack of fatherhood on an individual. Just the effect, whatever that effect is, could be good, could be bad. In this case, we're talking about the negative, but just the lack of fatherhood or teaching or training as a father to young men or young women, and the effect that it has on their lives. Right on.
Yogi Lewis.
Man, I would say fatherhood, man. All I can think about is somebody who's supposed to be watching the front door. Somebody who's supposed to be watching their front door, and they're not there.
Yeah, wow.
And they're not there.
Wow.
And so because the front door is open, now the back door is open as well. And so a house unprotected, man.
That's deep, man. It really is. Thought engineer, Pastor Smith.
Thinking about daddy issues, one of the things that comes to mind is the impact on our identity, our affirmation, and also our leadership. Those things are impacted by those daddy issues. We miss that. We miss that affirmation. We miss that identity, and most important, that leadership. And we're growing up in that, and we're trying to navigate, but you can't lead with a broken compass. And many of us have broken compasses that we're trying to lead with. So how do we fix that?
Love it. I'm going to play a video here. This is what inspired, just for those who you didn't watch part one or whatever, just so you can see what inspired the daddy issues topic.
You admittedly were sleeping with multiple men, so you just said, you know what? I'm fanning out and I'm telling everybody I was having sex with, you could potentially be my son's biological father.
This man has spent 22 years searching for his father, and today he was ready to give up. But Judge Lauren wasn't about to let that happen.
When your mom told you he could potentially be your biological father, when was this? How did she tell you?
Last night. It's all so much just like built up. It's just like sometimes I just don't feel like I'm not as good as everybody else because they all got dads.
Don't ever feel just like break that. My heart. Don't you ever feel like that. Do you hear me?
That's all I need to pay on that, man. Hey, I feel like I wasn't as good as everybody else because they all got dads. Hey, if you don't think that resonates with me, you out your mind. Now this is where we're going, Pastor. You're gonna be the first to talk about this one. I got one more video to show, and this is the question we're gonna ask after that. A father supposed to like their children, and I put male focus because again, we're coming from a man perspective, right? A father supposed to like their children. Some of you may know where we're going with this, but here it goes.
Can I ask you a question? The hell you got to ask me, Mr. Stewicki, the one you got the questions for. How come you ain't never liked me? Like you? Who the hell said I got to like you? What law is there say I got to like you? Want to stand up in front of my face and ask a damn fool-ass question like that? Talking about liking somebody. Come here, boy, when I talk to you. Straighten up, goddammit. I asked you a question. What law is there say I got to like you? None. All right, then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day? Yeah. Nigga, as long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me. Yes, sir. You eat every day. Yes, sir. Got a roof over your head. Yes, sir. Got clothes on your back. Yes, sir. Why you think that is? Because of you. Hell, I know it's because of me. But why do you think that is? Because you like me? Like you. I go out of here every morning. I bust my butt putting up with them crackers every day because I like you. You're about the biggest fool I ever saw. It's my job. It's my responsibility. A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. Not because I like you, because it's my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you. Now let's get this straight right here and now before I go along any further. I ain't got to like you. Mr. Rand don't give me my money come payday because he like me. He give it to me because he owe me. Now, I don't give you everything I got to give you. I give you your life. Me and your mama worked that out between us, and liking your black ass wasn't part of the bargain. Now, don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Then get the hell out of my face and get on down to that A&P.
I don't want to go first. And let me just say this, the part that I have not paid attention to that just stood out to me. When he came in, y'all know who he was looking at.
His mom.
His mom. Pastor Harper, do men or fathers supposed to like their kids? Go.
So let me jump off the video first, right?
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that inside of the country that we live in, and I wanted to expand the topic a little bit tonight anyway. Most of our people have been in a generational survival mode. When you go back to the idea of being enslaved since 1619, earlier than that, depending on which accounts you look at, when you look at the idea of being beaten and buck broken and all of this, the idea of liking your children was out of the way. We moved into survival mode real quick. And many of our men have been hard. Our women have been hard. They've lived in a resilient space where we have to be resilient against all that's coming back against us, all that we're dealing with. So when I look at this, I look at him and I see a man that I've seen many times before in my neighborhoods, in my family, across the time when I've pastored certain people that have been this way, that have been hardened by society, and that says the ultimate goal, what I owe you is the basics. My father had this same spirit about him. But when I think about the generation that has been underdeveloped of young men that haven't been fathered, or those that have their fathers and have had a father that didn't necessarily like them, and we're looking at a situation where we're exacerbating the pain that no longer belongs to us. That spirit comes from a space that we need to heal from so we can help the next generation heal. And so while I affirm it, I've dealt with it, I feel it, I understand it, I know it. I was raised in those same type of environments where it was just that no nonsense. We were just laughing while I was eating with my family a little earlier and telling them, sit down at the table, don't talk, don't say much. It was very militant, even in the way that we move. Why? You need to be grateful for what you have. You need to be thankful for it, even if it's rags, even if it's little, I'm giving you what I'm giving you, and this is all you deserve. I think that had a place in our past when we were stuck in a protective space. I think as we ponder the future and think about what our men need to be to their children, it goes back to what Pastor Derrick said, and I'm out of here. A father is responsible for identity, for affirmation, and for directing a young man into leadership. And when I do not give him an identity that he is grounded in, that he knows is full, that he is loved, made in God's image, and that I am affirming him in this image to give him the power that is supposed to be transferred to me for his manhood, he can't step into leadership in the future. So I think it's a piece of who we were. I do not think it's a piece of who we need to be going forward. I do think fathers need to like and love their children to develop healthy young men.
Wow, love it. Let's go to Pastor Smith on this.
I think the like is necessary. You don't want your kids to despise you. The duty part, many of us haven't even had the person to really take on the duty of, being a father. But even in that, the human part. Now I get it back then, that tough exterior, you have to prepare, especially young black kids, for a world that was going to be extremely harsh towards them.
That's right.
And you couldn't give them a false sense of, going out there and not realizing what they're facing. But at the same time, you have to give me something that makes me want to be like you. That makes me want to walk in your path. And if you come across as somebody who is just harsh and all over the place, then, you know, I may appreciate what you've done, but I don't really want to walk in that same thing.
Love it, man. Love it. Yogi Lewis.
Man, it's funny because my dad was, man, he was he was mean. He was mean because he got himself into adult situations and they were kids. So it forces you to get under. You got 3 kids and a wife. You 22 years old. You mad at where you want to be mad at somebody, and you can't be mad at yourself, so you take it out on the people that you are having to be there to support.
My Lord.
And so, and because of that, I'm thinking that you're supposed to be mean when you got kids. You're not supposed to like them. You're supposed to love them, but you're not supposed to carry them. You're not supposed to be their friend. You're supposed to be dad and rule with an iron fist. That don't work. This generation is the if there was ever a bizarro world for kids, we living in it, because these kids don't respond well to that. They don't keep secrets, and they tell you about yourself, and which is probably the best thing that could have happened to our generation. Is hey, because I noticed that if my sons don't want to be like me, and the rest of the world is pulling on me to talk to them, why are my sons not? What am I not doing as a father? My sons aren't pulling on me, like Derrick was saying. Hey, they don't want to be like me. Why? What are you doing and trying and providing? Because you're providing, you're doing everything that you think you're supposed to do, but yet my sons don't want to be like me. What's the disconnect? What's going on? What's going wrong? And like you said, our parents ruled out of fear, trying to get us somewhere that they were scared they weren't going to be able to be, and we didn't get something we were supposed to get as men. And so now we can't import into our sons because we're lacking something.
Help us.
Yes.
Boy. Freelosopher.
This is it's kind of a tricky situation. That's that scene is probably one of the most it's one of my favorite scenes of all movies of all time. Because it really brought it to life, you know, the dynamic of a father and son. Where some people say, okay, well, that was kind of harsh. It was a harsh delivery, but it was also to let him know that, hey, you understand what love is. Bypass like. Let's forget about like. Let's talk about what love is. And love is the response. He talked about responsibility. You are my responsibility. That and that's far more important. And I love you so much that I'm gonna take care of you as my responsibility. And that's far more important than liking you. I've got 5 boys, all 5 different distinct personalities. Some of them act like their mama, some of them like me, some of them act like their granddaddy. You know, and I don't like all of them people all of the time. I don't like them. That's just what it is, and they don't like some parts of me all the time. And in a case like this, where a gentleman has to come to you, or one of my sons has to come to me and say, "Well, why don't you like me?" You know, I probably would have broken it down a little bit different, and that would have been a time for me to affirm, "Hey, look, I do like you. I like you so much that I love you. We just have some differences, and we have some different ways to look at life." And as I get older, I'm less rigid. You know, I was a little more hardcore when I was older. As a grandparent now, I'm much softer. I'm a much better parent. I'm much more cordial to my grandkids than I was to my kids. But that was the understanding that I had to come to. And we'll get into this later, but that I had to come to that understanding because I was never taught that duality that I was supposed to have. I wasn't. I was only taught to be a provider. I was, or at least myself taught. I was only taught to be a provider. I wasn't taught to be a nurturer. And in that case, he needed nurturing as much as he needed provisions.
Love it, man.
That's really important in understanding that you have that duality, but not necessarily letting one outweigh or being heavier than the other, but understanding that you have to carry both torches at some point. So, and I'll finish this by saying, and one of the things that as I was listening to the gentleman say, sometimes you've got to practice on raising the person that you can like. That takes time and effort to raise the person that you can like. You've got there's some I remember, I didn't grow up with my father, but I saw kids that grew up with their fathers, and you couldn't distinguish them. Their conversation was the same, their mannerisms were the same, they talked and they walked exactly alike, they thought alike. And that man took time to raise his child to be like him. He took time to raise a person that he liked to hang out with, that he liked to conversate with. That is very, very important and probably misunderstood and probably taken for granted. But I'll shut up and move on because this is.
Hey man, I'm just gonna hit on something Gary said. I'm gonna jump in front of you, Pastor Jones. He said, when I became a grandfather, I'm a much better father. Let's just listen to these words. Father, grandfather. Father to grandfather. It might. Oh, I'm in line with what Gary said with regard to that message in that movie. I said, my note I made when watching that video was great message, horrible delivery. He's basically telling him, don't count on people liking you, baby. It ain't about that. Make sure people are living up to their responsibility for you and you living up to your responsibility for them, right? It's basically what he was getting at. So great message, horrible delivery. And I would have followed up with, baby, sometimes I don't even like myself. And that's some real talk for your son. Pastor Jones.
Yeah, I think you just set it up for me perfectly because that's where I was with it. I took Denzel out of the picture and I put myself in that place. I took his son out of the picture. I put my oldest son in his place. So I raised from 6 to the time he graduated from high school. And one of the realest things that he said to me when I asked him, why did we get estranged? Why did we drift apart? He said, well, you was a good pastor.
Wow.
God, dog, man.
I ain't want to be a good pastor to my son.
God, dog, man.
So I had to realize that while I was trying to prepare him for this world and prepare him to deal with stuff that I was hoping he didn't face, I realized that I wasn't giving him what he needed and what he wanted. He wanted a dad.
Yeah. God, dog.
So
stop it.
The reality that I got from that clip was, if I don't like me, how can I like you? If I don't like my life, how can I extend something to you that I don't have right now? Right. I don't like my job. I don't like this world. I don't like having to deal with these white folk in my face all the time. I don't like your mama because we ain't always right. I just don't like life. So how can I extend like or love to you when I don't like or love anything going on in my world?
Preach.
Right. That's good.
And when my son put it back in my face, hey, you was a great pastor. I realized that I missed the mark miserably. And it was at that point that I started realizing I had to get to a place where I could love, like, and accept myself so that I could have something to give to my children other than Jesus said.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of folks in the chat room and that are watching. Stephanie Combs Whitley, Marita Mills Oliver, Andrea Lynn, Aaliyah Dawkins, Wifey Queen, what's up? Again, Keisha Walker, the educator Queen, got the day off to listen to this, but she's still in tune. The producer of this show, Miss Shantae K, Justin Caraway, and hold on. I got one more again. Let's see who else did I miss. And then Andrea Lynn. Hey, good Lynn. About time you came back, and of course, Ben etc. A couple of comments. Christina Andrea said, I mean, but he isn't, talking about Cat Williams, I believe. Keisha said, I knew Pastor AJ was going to drop some gold nuggets when he started off by saying, I, before giving his definition. Never thought about it that way. John explained it by saying someone not watching the door. Christina Andrea says, oh boy, who said he wasn't good enough because he didn't have a dad was telling the truth. He doesn't. Wow. And he isn't. God, dog. Did you hear what she just said?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
That's a show in and of itself. She goes, he isn't. God, dog. Ooh, I ain't got time to look at that one right now. Ben said Denzel was in rare form. And she goes, a lot of y'all kids you hate. Wow. And then I'm going to turn John loose on her in a minute. Dr. Selena said, wow. Justin said, wow, amazing. See strong men having this much needed and important conversation. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Okay, so I think I'm going to go here with this. And I'm going to set it up a little different. Pastor Harper, I'm going to go with you on it, okay? Because I want to talk about, see, we have daddy issues and then we have regular man issues, right? You know, and sometimes they get lost in the fray. They get lost at the intersection, which is which, right? Pastor, you mentioned something that I wanted to touch on and wanted to understand the impact, because again, if we don't understand our history, if we don't look back at it, we're doomed to repeat it, right? We got to understand the PTSD of it all. So how do we differentiate the impact of daddy issues from the impact of the regular issues of man-made battle, such as a slave mentality that ain't been shook off yet? Talk to me.
Yeah, I think, you know, it expands even to the point to where those become daddy issues as well, right? I could look at the big framework, but I'm gonna go back just for a minute on that. When you talk about framing daddy issues and slave mentality, you realize this was actually the original intent. Right, to separate and to break up homes, right, to feminize our men, which we talked about last week, forcing them into forced reproduction camps, or they had buck breaking camps to deal with the ones that wasn't either going to fight for their living or going to reproduce primarily for their living. And it was an intentional reproduction with the intent that I can't let you be close to your family. Right after I get done using you as a stud to reproduce these other strong children for slavery, I'm gonna ship you off down south. I'm gonna break up the family intentionally. So when you start talking about daddy issues with many of us as African Americans, we have a history that's littered with daddy issues, intentionally ripping apart the family and having us in an unstable situation where we're unable, where there's nobody there, as comedian John said, to guard that door, right? To be able to do that. What does that do? It creates two things that happen, and both of them are real, but we have to deal with them in the broader context of our society and what we're looking at right now. It creates the situation where you have the responses that we're looking at. We still have many runaway slaves. What happened back then? Some of the men ran away. If they got to the point where they couldn't take it, they was getting up out of there. Right? They had to go. They was running. They could not let their manhood be defeated to that point as somebody subjugate them into slavery. In those situations, the mama was still back there. And the mama, after watching what they would do, either to the husband that got dragged back or to the other slaves that got caught, seeing them strung up about ropes, lynched, beaten, quartered, cut in half, all the different things that they did, then that mother began to parent that boy based on fear, to protect you, to keep you alive, to make sure that you're okay. These are some of the same daddy issues we see multiplied today, because if you fast forward into the modern, we still got men that have become the runaways from some of their families, because the pressure was too tight, because they couldn't live inside that system. We have many great men on this broadcast, but we have many young men that have been raised where their father dipped and jumped ship. He became the runaway slave. That mama, with nobody guarding the door, began to protect her son instead of prepare her son. And so when you look at the difference between daddy issues and regular man issues, is that daddy issues are based on the absence of something and the lack of developmental preparedness and readiness that gets you in position to be able to stand your position as a man. Regular manhood issues, we all go through those, but when you have that gaping hole that comes from not being prepared, from being unguided and unguarded, then those people end up with the deeper wounds because they can't get out of their way, because that cycle keeps continuing itself. We talked about it last week, and that was a clip that you played. Most of these young men are their second generation in to daddy issues based on all our statistics on marriage. And in that generation, the absence of the patriarchal male voice has been gone so long that you can't even tell that young man that he got an issue with listening to men. And so that order, that direction, that discipline that he's supposed to be getting, most of them are going to fight that off because they haven't had a male voice leading for multiple generations. It's some daddy issues, but it's some that are just developmental issues for manhood. But the daddy issues are based on that absence.
Yeah. Wow. John, how do we differentiate the impact of our daddy issues from the impact of the regular issues a man may battle? Or does it?
Wait, hold on. No, you not either. No, you are not. No, you are not. I'm gonna call something else. I'm like, wait a minute, did you use that answer last week? Because you broke that down. And I'm sitting here saying, boy, I sure hope he don't call me next. And then I say, John, oh, no, you didn't. No, you did not, sir.
Oh, man.
No, you did not. I'm trying to figure out how to raise my two sons, and this brother and look up at the same time.
Yeah.
And say, John, oh, no, you ain't either.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so, excuse me, that was my... So, okay, go ahead, re-answer the question. Okay.
How do we differentiate the impact of our daddy issues from the impact of the regular issues a man may battle?
Well, all I can think of, man, is to put it as simple as I can. I think we don't do a good job recognizing trauma and what trauma and struggles are.
Yeah, man.
I think we lump them. I think we lump them together and stick them all in the back room, and we just kind of deal with them accordingly. But we don't. I think we can't truly get healed from whatever issues we have until we specifically deal with those particular things. I mean, because listen, father issues, man, encompasses so much stuff that you take on.
That's right, man.
I got this. Is my line. I got to work this in. You had never had no good sex until a woman called you daddy. You ain't had no good sex until you get called daddy. Now I'm telling you. My wife running in here, but you. And again, I'm just saying it encompasses so much.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, with a stalker.
It spills over in the other areas of our life that we need help in as well.
Man.
But I think we're putting the band-aid on the daddy thing, and we're gonna have to cut the rest of the arm off.
Yeah, man. Yeah, see, I'm with you now, man. And this is how the Lord giving it to me, man. Infections. Right? It's an infection that spreads. If it's not taken care of, it might have just started. You just had a little cut.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But now you got gangrene. Now we got to cut the whole arm off, like you just said, man. So that's just to put it in a practical way for folks to see it, man. Freelosopher, how do we differentiate, man, from the impact of our daddy issues from the impact of the regular issues a man may battle? Are they the same? Does it matter how we differentiate? Do we just need to deal with? You follow me? Talk to us.
I think you do. I don't think you differentiate between the two. I think an issue is an issue. I think different issues require different therapy or different guidance or different teaching. But when it all comes down to it, it's an issue that needs to be addressed. You might have a heart condition, and you might have diabetes, and you might have sepsis or whatever else. And they're all issues. They're all things that you have to deal with, and you have to take different medications for each one of them. And so I think addressing each one of them with their own specific medication, their own specific therapy, their own specific teaching is how you get to the end result that you want. That's how you get better. If you can't give a person that has a heart disease, you can't give him diabetes medicine, it's not going to work for him. You've got to give him specialized medicine to fix that issue. So, but all of them are serious. All of them can kill you. And so none is more important than the other, but addressing all with their own, diagnosing them all and addressing them all with the right anesthesia or with the right medicine is actually going to be the key to getting over or getting past those issues.
Yeah, and I got the advantage of being able to listen to the answers, and the Lord give me my answers. I ain't got none of them. And what he said is, you're right, but in order to treat those individual issues, you got to know where they came from. That's why the doctor asks you, what's your diet? How much fried food you eating? How much exercise you getting? How much sun you getting? So you still got to figure out and trace that back, whether it be 400 years or whether it be 40 years when you was 14, or whether it be, you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to add something. Because when I listened to the podcast last week, Pastor Harper said something that made me think of something, and I saw this happen in real life. He said that some young men don't know how to take direction from men. They're so used to following women that they don't take direction from men. I coached the track team, and I started to recognize that in little kids and little boys. They just did not understand. They did not want to take direction from a man. And I remember I addressed that to a young boy once, and I said, you know what? I said it in specific, and his mom got mad at me when I said it. But I told him that's what your problem is. And as he worked with me and he started to trust me more and more,
that's the word. That's the word right there.
One of my favorite athletes. He became the kid that I could count on to do anything and everything. But it all started because he was apprehensive. And it wasn't just me as the man, as his coach. It was men in general. But once that was diagnosed in him and he kind of understood it, probably understood it better than his mom.
Right on.
He accepted it and then was able to capitalize on it, was able to move on and turned out to be a great athlete, at least in that time frame that I had him. But it's something that is really, really important that we definitely have to address and have to stay on top of.
Yeah, trust is that key word. I was gonna say, if he say the word trust, that tied it all together, because that kid had to develop a trust for you, man. That's why they listen to that voice, because they done developed a trust for that voice over a period of years. That same voice that done nurtured them, done got them bacon. That same voice that done nurtured them, done bought them honey buns and Nikes, and you feel me? So they don't have that trust for us, that they need to. But I'm telling you, a real conversation. See, he respected you the moment you told him something real. See, that's one thing that I give to you, man, that sometimes these kids, man, they recognize real versus the fake. I mean, they recognize it. So you gave him something real, man, that helped him start developing that trust. And you said the mama got mad, which is why last week I apologized to the women right then and said, we are not attacking y'all. You had to do what you had to do. We get it. This is not an attack. This is a conversation that says what needs to be done and how it needs to be done.
Hold on.
Unless you got a fade. If you got a fade like John, we are attacking you. Go ahead, John.
But now on the first video where they couldn't find the boy's dad,
right?
Because mom had ran through the city.
Gotcha.
Mom had,
okay,
She was for the streets.
They've been through the city, so we're gonna apologize. We're gonna apologize to the son for mom enjoying herself in the city. Mom was enjoying herself in the city.
Decades. What you talking about?
Think about this. I just for a quick second. If we had any idea that what we put ourselves through mentally would affect our kids like they do, would we not change? Would it not make us be better people? If we had any idea our kids were gonna be in turmoil like that young man is, would that not make his mother and father be different, man?
Absolutely, man.
But I think that goes directly into the question: how does the daddy issues impact regular man issues? It's a guidance thing. Regular man issues are going to happen, but I need somebody to define it for me. I need somebody to make me understand that this is not something that's just happening to me. This is something that happens.
That's it right there.
I need somebody to say, when this happens, watch out for this, look for this, do this. And without that, because we're just kids, we're just energy. We're just like, we're balls of energy. We're like, we got this testosterone, it's all over the place. And most people teach you that it's a problem. It's not a problem. It just has to be directed. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's not guided and directed can become chaotic, right? Right? You driving a car. A car is a good tool to get you back and forth. But if it's not guided properly and directed properly, it can cause havoc, wreak havoc. And that's with anything. And that's what fathers are supposed to be. The reason why people don't understand men and the love of men is because men represent authority and order first. And we've been taught to hate those very things, even in God.
God dog it.
We don't like his guidance.
God,
we don't like his word. We don't like to obey him. Why? I just want the God that's on the cross, not the one that's on the throne. The one that's on the throne is directing my life, and I got to listen to him. But I don't want to do that, because the first point of love is not sacrifice. The first point of love is guidance. It's instruction. It's instruction. We love the sacrifice, but the sacrifice came because we didn't listen.
Oh boy.
That's what made the sacrifice necessary, because we disobeyed and we didn't listen. But the first point of love is giving you order, giving you instruction, giving you direction. That's the first point of love. And we completely dismissed that is love. We think love is just let me do what I want to do and you pick up the slack. That's not love.
Man,
true love is in me directing you and guiding you and training you. That's where the real love is.
And so you do what I'm asking you to do is loving me back. Doing
what did Jesus say? If you love me, he didn't say sing me a song. He didn't say fall out on the floor and dance. He didn't say do none of that. He said just do what I say, and I know you love me back.
Come on and preach, man.
Just do what I say, and this is why manhood and fatherhood has been rejected by society, because we don't like authority, we don't like law, and that's what men represent.
See, I know I'm supposed to be hosting this, but I quit, man.
Look here. I'm gonna say amen.
Look here.
I'm gonna say ouch and amen.
Hey, like the educated queen said, my God. And I'm telling you like this, man, when he said the sacrifice wouldn't have been necessary had we listened. Man, that is so, think about how many applications that has in your life, man, in your house, at your job, how many times you done had to do something because the original instruction wasn't followed. Man, that is.
I tell people all the time, the value of your salvation has nothing to do with the cross. The value of your salvation has to do with him being on the throne. That's where it is. Yes, he died and gave his life for you, but it's a kick in the face for you to take what he did and just misuse it and use it as an excuse for you to do what you want to do.
That's why I think one of the reasons why people live that way is because of some of the ways that we have framed faith as well. For some, the only thing that we've elevated is the cross. And you're right, the cross is an entryway into the kingdom. And that king sits on the throne in the kingdom. It's a restoration to Edenic power and authority. And he's saying, I want you to come into my kingdom and be ambassadors. And so one of the reasons why we struggle is because we see faith and religion and obedience as something that we're losing rather than a power that we're gaining. And many of our people, if we had that message, even for our young men, that we have deemed to say that they are hopeless and are lost, some of these that are dealing with deep generational father issues and stuff like this, they really need somebody to speak affirmation and life back into them to remind them of what God did to save him and what he saved them for. Because when you get that, then you start talking about the rebuilding plan. Right now, we're not just talking about the problem and the issue that is prevalent today and spreading like an infection. Now we start talking about how we rebuild these young men by mentoring, by guidance, by direction. The Bible says, blessed is the man whose quiver is full. And I said that is the imagery of a man who has a bow, a pack
on his back. And he got plenty. That means I got a lot of resources.
He gives you the weapons for this particular world as men are in place to guide in alignment with God, to instill values, direction, and to build this young man up so that he can actually deal with those regular manhood issues that are there, but also complete that purpose that's also in him. So it's on us. It's not just that people don't like order and obedience nowadays. Many men have stopped recognizing the value of the bows that were inside of their quiver.
That's right, man.
But just let me say this. And when we talk about faith, because that's one of the words we use it, we have faith to believe God to come and be the person that comes and saves us, but we don't have faith to trust in his word and do what he tells us to do. So that we had faith to believe and do what he told us to do, we wouldn't need him to come and rescue us.
Hold up, John. The salvation is in the instruction. That's where the salvation
as
is.
they went, as
It's
they
in
went,
the
as they went.
instruction. If you listen, that's where you experience freedom. That's where you experience liberty. And you obeying what he says. It's the salvation is in the instruction. The cross is just a submission. But now I'm submitting to your instruction.
Yeah.
So I never get to experience true salvation if I never listen to you.
Hey, BS3 Network, cut it off. Anybody who want to listen from now on got to pay to get in. We've given away what we can sell.
But think about this. As a little boy growing up, if you had your dad there to say, hey, we Lewises, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Or we Smiths, we don't, that ain't what we do. That ain't how we do it. We Johnsons, that ain't how we do things.
Yeah, man.
What if you had just that?
Yeah, man.
Growing up.
Yeah, man.
To define, hey, we Johnsons, we Smiths, we roll strong. We push through. We stand up.
Yeah.
You had that standard, and that's really what it's a standard that's missing.
That's it, man.
And so we're out here trying to establish standards and trying to define standards. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of out here. I don't know where to start sometimes.
Well, that was my imagery with the bow and arrow, because the father is the one who aims the arrow. You not only prepare it and make sure it's sharp and prepare for the task at hand, but the father aims the arrow.
Yeah.
And the father does not know how to aim if he has not been taught how to aim himself.
Yeah.
And so we end up with a whole bunch of men, and you can look at it now. We're dealing with this. We have a weakness inside of our population, inside of black men. We need to be able to say that out loud, as much as we protect the 30 or 40% that may be doing well. We got a whole slew of fellas that are unguided and unguarded. They are not guided in their lives. Their arrows are shooting off. And what happens when you got a weapon that's unguided? It has unexpected casualties that are attached to it. So what are we talking about with the daddy issues? The multiplication of daddy issues, because when one weapon goes rogue, it can end up infecting and hurting so many other people.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this to what Pastor Derrick has said. He talked about defining it, and guess what? It's a men out there who immediately, when they heard that, they said, "Man, I don't know how to define it. I'm trying to figure it out myself." Well, guess what? He said he talked about they need to know you're not in this alone. So you may not be able to define it, but you can identify it. I can't define it, but I can identify. I know what you're going through. Let's go figure it out together. But at least you know you're not going through it by yourself. Keisha said, Pastor Derrick, please mute yourself for a few minutes. I don't know how much more I can take. She also said, this is helping me understand so much better now why my brother has set the population of Dallas County a new high, because our dad has kids in Mississippi that we still don't know. Hey, something to that. Justin said, talk that talk. The producer says, where is the collection plate? Ben said, submitting is key. Hey, man. Woo. I wish I could turn this off, man. It's so absolutely good, man. We got time for one more, and I think I'm going to go here because we've kind of touched on it a little bit. And I want to start with Pastor Jones on this one. And I'm going to kind of define this a little bit more, or break this down a little bit more. So it says, are social pressures and supposed societal norms preventing men from dealing with their daddy issues, right? I got this kind of from Man Talk Mondays last night when they talked about men now being able to cry, that kind of thing, right? Big boys don't cry. Hey, straighten up, stand up, shoot up. That's part of some of those societal norms, supposed societal norms, right? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I almost cried 3 times during this show because my spirit is confirming the information, and my spirit either want to cry or holler or jump or run, and I'm trying to run the show, so I can't get up out this seat. But something got to move. You hear what I'm saying? But anyway, our social pressures, okay? Gary talked about it a little bit when he talked about the coach being too hard on the kids. Okay? Our social pressures. How men are supposed to react. John said the last man, we ain't supposed to react like that. John said you can't cry about 3 or 4 times a year if you're a man in front of people. And then the thought engineer said, well, how many times you cry? Every day. But I just can't cry in front of nobody but 3 or 4 times a year. You only get 3 or 4 because she's going to look at you. That nigga soft. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hey,
That's
again,
real.
social pressures and supposed societal norms preventing men from dealing with their daddy issues effectively. Let's go, Pastor Jones. This will be our last topic, and we'll try to wrap it up.
Short answer is yeah. Real answer is hell yeah. I mean, we all know that a pressure will bust a steel pipe.
That's right. Make a puppy pull a freight train.
And if I have nowhere to go with the stuff that's killing me on the inside, that's safe.
Stop it.
Then eventually it's gonna come out some kind of way.
Stop it.
Some people shoot up stuff. Some people choke somebody out. Some people go home, beat on their wife, their kids, their dog. But the reality is, even bigger than social, the social media and social norms and stuff like that. We have to have safe places where we can look our sons, our daughters in the face and say, this is safe. You can tell me what you can't tell nobody else. You can tell me what's hurting you. You can tell me, Jesus. You can tell me what you're afraid of, even if that's me.
Oh, boy.
And let me just throw this little dime in the Black community. It is okay to have a pastor and a therapist. Now, I'll take it a step further. I know people who can preach but can't counsel.
Dog, man.
Yes. I know people who can counsel but can't preach.
Ooh, boy.
My mother told me when I was young, she didn't have time for me to be depressed. So get your butt out of that little group in that school, get in your class, and do your work.
Yep, that part.
So for a long time, I was running around mad and angry. And guess what my son saw? Mad and angry. So guess what my son deals with? Mad and angry.
Wow, man.
But now we're trying to go back and fix some things. And we being real and real honest with each other about what we saw, but also what we felt.
Right.
Okay. So he said something about being untreated. Again, I'm trying to put into practical application. I'm trying to give you a picture of what's being said and tying it into stuff we've said before. We talked about infections. If that infection is untreated, it'll spread. If it spreads so far, it's got nowhere else to go on the inside. It's going to come on the outside. You're going to see pus. You're going to see bruising. You're going to see, you follow them? It's going to come out one way or the other through some orifice or another, right? If left untreated.
Yeah, but one more caveat to that.
Spell caveat, man. Now
you
gonna
gonna
use it.
You gonna fix somebody else. You're gonna fix somebody else.
Yeah, man. That's right.
Just not gonna, you're gonna fix somebody else.
That's right, man.
I mean, hurt people.
That's right, man. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let's get a couple comments and then we'll go to you, Gary. Let's see. No, we're gonna save Keisha's answer for the end. Justin says, part 3, please. Thank you in advance. Yes, this is a series. It is officially a series. We will be back. Gary, social pressure, supposed societal norms preventing men from dealing with their daddy issues.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the key to that is recognizing, like what we talked about, what you said earlier, recognizing what the issue and the origin of the issue. You know, if you're angry and you don't know, how many times have you talked to young people and they say, and I think Pastor Harper mentioned it earlier, you know, talking to young men and they're angry and they're upset and they don't actually even know why. And not understanding that, like the young man in the video, he's hurting and doesn't necessarily know why. And then when he understands where this is coming from, then he can begin to heal. But if you don't know why, then when you are crying and you're hurting and you're in that state of basically shock, but you can't actually verbalize why, then it becomes it. Then society says, toughen up, toughen up and get through it, get over it. But if you didn't recognize and you didn't know how to verbalize or where this pain, where this anger, where this frustration is coming from, then you may get basically misdiagnosed. And then when you get misdiagnosed, you're going to get mistreated. Right? A treatment that does not add up to a resolution that is going to be effective for you. So I think understanding where we are, understanding this issue, and differentiating, again, going back to what we said earlier, differentiating that issue from some of the other norms and attacking that issue, getting to the bottom of that issue and getting to that resolution is what it is going to be ultimately is what's going to lead to your help and your recovery and healing.
Man, some big words there, man. When he said mistreated, saw that term in a completely different way, man.
Mhm.
Completely different way. John, have you talked about the social pressures and supposed societal norms preventing men from dealing with their daddy issues yet? Have you commented on that?
No, I have, but I was funny because I was like, man, this is really good. But also, though, I can't help but think about most men that are damaged with having father issues, we don't allow our wives or significant others to speak and to tell us about ourselves. Tell me, can you tell me what I'm dealing with? Can you tell me how I am? Can you tell me? Because my wife can tell me I throw tantrums, and I'm like, "Oh, you lying? I don't throw no tantrums." I'm so serious because they see us in the way we don't. They see our blind spots.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you have daddy issues, we've covered them up for so long that we can't see them. And it takes somebody that's close to us that can say, "Hey, listen, honey, this is what I'm seeing." But you got to trust her with the information that she can give to you so you can get some help. Hey, listen, I've noticed that when you do this is how you react. You'll react to this, you're hot-headed. Because let me tell you something, don't nothing make you see yourself like your kids. Because when I see my kids acting out, the first thing I want to put blame somewhere. Who is that, and why is my daughter acting like that? And my wife says she's acting like her daddy. Who? She acting like who? Her daddy don't do that. Oh yes, he does. Well, I don't see it. So I'm simply saying this. It's difficult for us to do it by ourselves when we lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
The only way we can do it is the people that are closest to us. We have to allow them to tell us about ourselves so we can get help.
Yeah.
Because remember, everybody is looking. Everybody knows you're damaged and you walk in with a limp and you're acting like you're not. You're acting like you whole and you not. Allow the people around you to speak into you and tell you what they see so you can help yourself.
I started to cut you off, man.
Go ahead, jump right in there.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about cut you off. See, it's like I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you a little secret for our white viewers. Black folks don't like when we tell black secrets to white folks. Men don't like when we tell men's secrets to women folk. That's what you just did. You just gave up one of our secrets.
But we need them. We need them though.
To be revealed, to get better. Pastor Smith, have you talked on this yet? I apologize that I'm having trouble keeping who done said what, but
I know
it's so
good.
I'm becoming a fan myself. Have you talked on this social pressure? I think
the problem when you talk about social norms, we're not hiding daddy issues. We're normalizing them. We're creating a society where dysfunction is okay.
Yeah, man.
We're creating a society where brokenness is cool. And it's playing out in all types of ways. And we've allowed movies, we've allowed music, we've allowed all these things to make us think, oh, this is what we do. This is how we are. And the cycle just continues. In the social pressure, there is social pressure not to be a man. They don't want us being men. They don't want us being ones that hold a standard. They don't want us being the ones that say, no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Right. We basically, our voice is being stripped away. But what happens is when you remove the man, the word father in the Hebrew is Abba, which means source, right? But in the Greek is fundus, which means foundation. When you move that foundation, a building can only be condemned, not when the window's broken, not when the roof is torn off, but when the foundation is damaged, that's when it's condemned.
Wow, man.
And society is strategically ripping the foundation up and expecting us to have healthy families and healthy kids and healthy wives and a healthy society. And You can't beat God's design.
Amen.
You can't beat his design. We've tried to come up with all kinds of designs ourselves, but they never work. Why? Because we didn't create this thing.
Right.
We've repurposed it, which is what the devil does all the time. It's called perversion. Many of us are living perverted versions of life. And God wants to get us back to the original, to the right standard, so that the life that we say we want, we could actually experience. But I tell people all the time, the path to peace is not peaceful. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. You got to be cool with it being uncomfortable. If we're going to be the ones who pivot this whole thing and turn it the right way, we got to be prepared to take it on, because it's going to come. David, the peace that Solomon enjoyed came at the wars of David that he fought and won. We got to be the ones, we got to be the Davids to fight the battles and win those battles so the next generation can experience the peace.
Amen.
Yeah, how I said it, where he said the path to peace is not peaceful. I said, in order for you to be comfortable, you must first become uncomfortable.
Listen, peace doesn't come from a kumbaya moment. Peace comes from subduing.
That is so real, man.
It comes
Think
from
about how
subduing.
many
It
times
comes
you done
from
had it out with your old lady, and afterwards there's some peace because you done had that war.
It doesn't. Peace has never come.
Be quiet, Gary.
It has never come from a whole kumbaya moment. It doesn't. No, it doesn't come that way. It does not come that way.
God dog it. Pastor Jones, have I given you enough time on this one, sir?
You have. I think that just one more thing that I'd add. I became good at looking like a male. I become good at being a man.
That's good.
And as not being able to be a man, it definitely affected trying to be a father.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna give you the viewer something. When we react in unison, he is saying something that we all experience. If anybody on here has said something that has made one of us or all of us react, it is because it is real. They are telling you that something that the group more than likely experiences, not just the individual. And the thing that I got, I'm gonna give my final comments now. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And that is what you're seeing right now. Yeah. I don't care if nobody ever see this, but the people that are right here on this show. I don't care if nobody but the panel get something out of it. We have just made ourselves better.
Amen.
In order to be able to help whoever we touch.
Amen. You
understand? Iron sharpens iron. You just saw iron sharpening iron. You just saw the fire. We're going to start our final thoughts, but before we do, I'm going to see if Pastor Harper, I don't know if she's asking you a question, but I want to give you an opportunity or give her the forum if that's what she did. She said, so what if our dads have been taught, Pastor Harper? My big daddy was there. He never left. My dad was still treated us and still to this day like we're nobody. Wow.
Yeah. So that not every daddy issues is caused by an absence. Right. So even part of last week, part of the show, I was talking about the presence of my father.
Yeah.
You know, I sold my first bag of marijuana when I was 14 years old with my father. You know what I'm saying? I delivered to the door for him. This was in a private school uniform, nonetheless. It looked like a mark. Wasn't nobody finna say nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always the absence. Unfortunately, sometimes the presence of a father who has not been trained, who has not been taught, so he doesn't know how to give that away. And often that father is the one that can rule with the iron fist. Because what I don't know, and what I'm not prepared for, then I'm simply going to make sure that I rule my family with an iron fist so that you cannot see my weaknesses. And I've had to deal with that personally, Ms. Walker, but I've also seen other people that have dealt with that as well. So no, it's not just from the absence of the father. It can be when you have somebody that's untrained or that's unrighteous in that space, period.
Which one is worse, being there or not being there?
I've seen ugly from both sides.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my daddy was there until he went to get some cigarettes. So
Yeah.
Can I answer that last question? No, I didn't get to get at that. Or is
Is
that
really? Oh, okay.
yeah.
My fault. Absolutely. Hold on. Let's reset real quick.
Because I definitely wanted to get at that.
No problem. Are social pressures and supposed societal norms preventing men from dealing with their daddy issues?
So I started, but you had me plug the podcast, and I talked about wanting to reach a population that seems unreached right now. Mm-hmm. Just this past week in Dallas, we've had a number of murders, a number of teenagers be engaged in either the commission of a murder or on the other side of losing their life in shootouts. The majority of the people that have popped up on the radar have been 25 and under. Now, Dallas is known for getting hot in the summer, and when it get hot, they let them choppers and them Glocks. That's a normal part of where I'm from. We always say the hotter they get, the stupider they get. So that population for me is something where I lament on a regular, because I look at our kids that are living in spaces that are designated violence and danger zones just by the zip code that they live in, where we can measure and know that these things are going to pop off in those spaces. And I remember growing up over there, because you were asking about the idea of the social pressures and the societal norms keeping you from dealing with your daddy issues, because when you lived in spaces like that were violent, that were hard to deal with, I learned some things when I was younger that made me cover up any issues I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. I learned early on, do not flinch, do not feel, do not snitch, right? And do not cry. Do not flinch, do not feel, do not snitch, do not cry. These were automatic. You, as a part of that framework for what a man looked like in that space, if you were going to be able to live and deal with all that, you didn't have no room for your feelings. You didn't have no room for no crying. You do not snitch, and all of these things were, and don't flinch either. I remember we used to box when we were young. I don't know if y'all did that when y'all was coming up at, but they would have flinching contests to see who was gonna move first. Ain't none of y'all do none of that when y'all these were designators of manhood. And so if those things are built in, and then you turn around and out of that grows this hip-hop music that has now created a greater framework for any identity inside of African Americans. I know we love to look at our elite and our achievers and our college graduates and our family people and all of that. But if we're going to be real, hip hop has had a greater influence in discipling the last two generations than the church, the families, or anybody else. And in that space, they go by those same rules that I'm talking about. In that space, they lie out front at least and say they go by those same rules. Nowadays, you got everybody popping up on paperwork and snitching happening everywhere. But our children are trying to live 10 toes down and seek and saying. It's stuff that ain't even real, by rules that ain't even real. And so those societal norms have hijacked a whole generation that have given in to this as a culture to be celebrated. We've celebrated with the images that we see on TV, with the images that we see in videos, with the things that we see on timelines, and with the music that our kids are listening to. And many parents have put those things right into those kids' generation, into those kids' hands. We've done that. We've been the ones that have created that monster we're now looking at. And so how could it not have an effect on daddy issues when we have sown in the seeds of other broken men who had daddy issues into them? What did J. Cole say when he was talking about the idea that these individuals looking up to folks as father figures? Wayne getting kissed by baby, even while he doing him dirty on the deal. Why? Because these father figures and these images were the things that we've seen, and this idea, even the game life, has been predicated upon this same thing, the idea that you inherit what you did not have with those people that were absent and were not teaching you. And so we got a whole generation of young people that have devalued their lives enough where they're willing to kill people, or they find themselves in situations where they minimize their lives to death, all because of the societal norms that have been forced in a hip-hop culture and an identity of manhood that is flat out toxic. And so we need to be pushing back, re-engineering, rewiring, rebroadcasting, going against directly. I think we've been way too passive with a bunch of the things that are going on that we're seeing, and we need to get to the point to where we are actively engaged with this gospel, not in some broad sense, but in a very surgical sense, and that we apply it to the very areas that we've been degraded in so we can build those spaces up. The culture is not only influential, it's winning right now when it comes down to defining manhood.
Wow. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. It's final thoughts time. And again, Justin has already asked for a part 3. I think that'll definitely be on the horizon. But we're going to start with final thoughts. We'll start with the Freelosopher, go to the comedian, go to the thought engineer, go to Pastor Jones, and then we'll end with Pastor Harper. Freelosopher, final thoughts, sir.
Yeah. What this makes me think of, and I'll put it in terms where most men can understand, and that's football terms. You have a head coach, but then you have position coaches. Men play different roles, and we have different responsibilities, and we have to learn from different people. And within that, you need your position coach. That father is your position coach. He's your fatherly position coach. So you need him. If you're a wide receiver, he knows some tricks that can get you open. He knows he knows what you need to read, specifically what you need to read, what that defense is doing, and where you need to go to avoid that defender. That's where we're missing. The fathers, the position coaches have been out of place, like we said, for 30, 40 years. And now we've got to make sure that we understand that position. We can't teach everything. We can't teach. A position coach doesn't know everything on the field. He usually knows what he has specialized in, or what he has played, the position he's played in elementary and junior high, high school, and college, and maybe in the pros. He knows those roles. And so he's the best person to teach you. We've got to make sure that we are giving those skills to the next generation, giving those skills to not only our children, but to our grandchildren and to our nieces and nephews and to other kids in the neighborhood and the community. Anybody that we come into contact with, we've got to be that position coach to show them how to be a father, how to roll this to the next level, and how to, and even if that one is not there, their real true position coach isn't there, their real true father isn't there, at least you're there as a role model to show them this is how you get open. This is how you play this role. This is how you create value for your team. So I think if we look at it like that, keeping the idea that, this is what my role is, not only and not victimizing myself for lack of, but understanding that this is what happened and this is what I can do to fix not only me, but the next generation. I think if we look at it like that, that'll be the first key to getting us where we need to be moving forward.
Love it, man. Love it. Comedian John Yogi Lewis.
Okay, so my final thought for this evening, man. Success leaves clues like failures does.
I love it.
Oftentimes we see families or men that we want to be like or think they have it all together, and we won't reach out to them. You know how disheartening it is not to have a father growing up and to have kids and not be the father that you think you should be to those kids when you didn't have one, because you have it in your head about how much of a greater father you would be than he was, and you turn out to be just like you. Dude, we don't ask for help. As men, we don't ask for help, and we need to stop it.
Yeah.
Success leaves clues. Find someone that is living the life that you want to live, not exactly the life, but parenting. So there was a prophet friend of mine. He stayed in my house. This is a true story. And he was prophesying to these other kids at the house that were visiting. He said, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be all over the world. You're going to do this, that, and other. And I looked at him and said, oh, I know you lying. You done been here with my kids all the time. You ain't never said nothing to my kids. But you know what I didn't do? I resented that dad for having kids like that. And I didn't go to him and ask him, hey, man, what are you doing? Yeah. Because you have your kids on a trajectory I can't seem to get mine on. Yeah. What are you doing? Rather than sit back being envious of him. Yeah, and I talked about him. I'm a comedian. I talked about him real good. But again, success leaves clues. Are we paying attention to the clues? That's my final thought.
Love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. Pastor Smith, the thought engineer. Final thoughts, sir.
Often people don't know where to start, especially men or males on the path to manhood if they haven't been led or guided. But I got the key. The key to being a good man is being a good son. And we become the son to the Father. He's our Father. He's waiting to direct us and lead us and guide us, and we just need to obey. That's what we need to do. And if we do that, he always positions us so that we get it right. But we got to first submit to him. So the key to manhood is sonship. We got to become good sons to the Father.
Love it.
Listen to him, let him guide us, and he will position us to be exactly what we desire to be. Those good men, those good fathers. He will give us the key to do that. We just got to submit to him and do what he says, and we'll get it right.
Love it. What's your name, man? Pastor John. I jest. Pastor Jones, final thoughts, sir.
Real quick, man. I want to thank God for each one of you, man.
Amen. Hallelujah.
When I tell you,
hallelujah,
y'all shaking the gates of hell tonight.
Hallelujah. Ooh, hallelujah.
No, for real. And I'm not trying to be super deep and spiritual.
I know it, man. Hallelujah.
Y'all shaking. Ooh, I want to say it like I want to say it. Poo-poo loose tonight.
Yeah,
y'all really are. Y'all got some demons that's gonna get smoked tonight,
right?
Because they didn't accomplish what they thought they were supposed to accomplish.
Right.
Because somebody heard something tonight that's gonna start them on the right path to getting free.
Right.
And that's really what I want to leave.
Prayed up for that because we got to pay for that.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna let us get away scot-free with that.
Yep.
We better get prayed up on that one. You 100 right. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. No, it's real though. It's that real. And that's I want to leave just the positivity that, listen, we can get rid of shame, blame, and condemnation. God never gave us those things.
That's right.
We can get rid of those things, shame, blame, and condemnation, and we can choose to start today. And when I say we, I'm talking about collectively.
Mm-hmm.
Any male, any father, any brother, any uncle, any friend, you can start today to get on the right track to do what it is you've always wanted done for you.
Love it.
When you was a son.
Yes.
And I mean it, man. It's when we put our minds to doing something, we'll get it done. If we put our minds to cheating, we'll cheat. If we put our minds to lying, we'll lie. If we put our minds to stealing something, we'll steal it.
Yeah.
If we put our minds to being a better man and a better father today, guess what? I bet you, I know us. We're resilient, man. We don't stay down long. We'll find a way. So my hope and prayer is that somebody heard something today or on this recording that they'll see when it's their time to see it, that's going to get them focused to start today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Pastor Harper, final thoughts.
Well, I'm a preacher, so I'm going to put a little Bible on it and close us out. In Malachi chapter 4, we know Malachi for the tithing and to bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. But at the end of Malachi, before the 400 years of silence, before the Savior stepped on the scene to reignite the canon and to finish the story of redemption. During that 400 years, these were the final words that were spoken by the prophet Malachi. He says, and behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse. Wow. Family, we are living in the reality of broken families, broken households, and men who have been broken generationally. God had a desire to restore the father to his rightful position. The effeminization of black men systematically in this space that we are in that has been hostile to our people for 406 years is a very intentional thing that we have to fight back with. But we don't fight back with the weapons of this world's warfare. We fight back systematically by training, by preparing, by building, by mentoring, by coaching, by building up every young man that we can get a hold of. that is a godly endeavor. That is the word of God enacted, breathe, and come alive in each one of us. So I'm thankful for being on the panel tonight, but I am hopeful because I am on a panel with black men who are talking about how we are committed and getting committed to a cause of pushing back against the gates of hell, and hopefully drawing and reconciling some of our young men back to Christ so they can get over those daddy issues and raise their own families for generations. Somebody mentioned earlier, and this is the last thing that I'm going to say, somebody mentioned the idea about the grandfather, hoping that I can just be a better father, be a grandfather. But the truth is, the Bible says that a wise man leaves inheritance for his children's children. So it said we would become wise when we became grand. Amen. So we need to bridge some of those generational gaps intentionally. We need to bring some of our young men back in the fold. We need some older fellows to be taught by some older men, and for all of us to get back in a lineage and a succession of developmental manhood that has accountability based on the generations all coming together and the wisdom that stays flowing. That's a work. That's a task. But if our youngsters, if our YNs are going to get right, it ain't going to happen until some of us older ones, like comedian Yogi said, we're going to have to get right. We're going to have to get coached. We're going to have to learn those things that we did not know. We have to show that humility so that they can turn around and show the same requisite humility. That's how the fathers return to the children, because when you return, just like that child is coming back, that prodigal, and he's humble. That father is also humble enough to tell him, save your apology and come on into this feast that's been prepared. This is going to be a glorious reunion, fellas, and I'm glad this show was a seed in something larger than any of us. God bless. Appreciate you.
Before I go, I'm going to just ask y'all, I think I told you before the show, but just in case y'all didn't hear, just stay on when we sign off so I can thank you properly. But let me just make sure we get all these comments before I say the last word. I need a part 3 too. Hey, I think we all do. And Mika, of course, said that's right, AJ, on his comments. She also said, thank you all for showing us what positive males in our community should look like. With humility. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now for me, again, I lied. I said I wasn't going to have no final thoughts, but my final thoughts are just simply piggybacking off of yours. Earlier, Pastor Smith talked about saying, hey, Lewis's don't do this. Johnson's don't, Freeman's don't, this is what we about, et cetera, right? And while Pastor Harper was just talking, I said it can also be done as when he talked about leaving an inheritance. This is going to be yours, son. Yeah. I'm leaving. Imagine what this will be yours will mean, right? To somebody, this will be yours. And Pastor Smith also talked about they don't know where to start. The confused mind does nothing. It is rendered inoperable. It won't do anything. It'll freeze. It will not move. It will be immobilized. The confused mind does nothing. So hopefully this will alleviate some of your confusion and give you some places to start. And he talked about this, how to become the good fathers by being good sons. I teach it like this to the people who report to me. I say, if you want to be the best leader, commit to being the best follower. That's it. That's how you become the greatest leader you can be, is if you commit to being a great follower. And those are my final thoughts on the topic, but I want to give a special shout out to John and Cheryl Lewis, who will be celebrating 34 years of marriage tomorrow. And that is, again, we talked about being there. We will never crap on being there.
They share our anniversary, Doc. We celebrate 20 tomorrow.
You kidding me, man? Ain't that something?
We celebrate 20 tomorrow.
Ain't that a connection, man? Ain't that a connection? Well, congratulations.
Twin.
I love it. I love it. I might celebrate by hitting a piece of this 2020 when I hang up. But hey, we appreciate all of the viewers. We appreciate the participation. Again, today's topic was daddy issues. This was part 2. This will be a series. I envision us coming back at least once a month with a piece of this. I'd like to put this panel together, but I can't thank these brothers enough for their time. Obviously, they have value in them. Everybody has, all of the panel members have displayed that. Okay. And this is just a piece of the value they have in them. So as a result, their time is being requested all over the place, not just for me. So I appreciate them giving of their time. I'm gonna be asking again, and hopefully this inspires them to give it, because they know, hey, didn't we talk about giving, John, before the show? Me and you was talking about how giving is important, right? So so just like Pastor Smith talked about the guidance and the listening, right? So it's just as important for me, to give. And this is us giving in a way, right? This is us tithing in a way. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't just tithe with your money, you tithe with your time and your talent. Y'all have just tithed in a way, right? So again, Daddy Issues Part 2, we will be back again with another episode of Queen3 King and this special panel at a later date. We'll see you next time on another episode of Queen3 and King.
Bro, bring the hook in. Queen3 and King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down, it's going down. We just hit you with another one. It's going down, we just hit you with another one. It's going down, we just hit you with another one. Tune in now, we just hit you with another one. It's Queen3 and King. 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 On BS3 Network. It's Queen3 and King. BS3 Network. It's Queen3 and King. On BS3 Network. Queen3 and King.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV. BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV